My name's Alex Rodriguez, reminding you, you don't need a contractor, you need a team of pros.
Hey, what's up, guys? Alex with Bay Cities Construction here. Hey, we've got another show, episode 31, and today we're going to be talking about kitchen and bathroom remodeling, and we're going to cover some tips and tricks, and we're going to go over some past projects so that you can know what to expect if you're going to be doing a major remodel, including a kitchen or bathroom. My name's Alex, Bay Cities Construction. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. What's up, guys? Alex with Bay Cities Construction here. Hey, so we're talking kitchen and bathroom remodeling. I got my bling on because today's a design type show. So I dusted her off. I got some nice little bling. Whoa. Did you see it? I don't know. I was just wondering to see if do I have your attention? All right, let's talk about kitchen bathroom remodeling. Having a little bit of fun here today. So this is one of the projects we did in LA. But before we get started on the LA project, remember last episode was episode 30. We talked about house bolting. If you're a little bit concerned about your house being bolted down and getting ready for earthquake stuff, because we are in earthquake country, go ahead and watch episode 30 on YouTube. And so let's get into it, guys. Let's start talking kitchen and bathroom remodel. Tonight we're talking makeover versus remodel. We're going to talk about unforeseen costs. We're going to cover some tips and tricks. And we're going to cover some projects that we've done here in the South Bay. Makeover versus remodel. So in a makeover, you're really doing mostly cosmetic stuff. You're not removing any walls. You're not changing locations of stuff. You're basically new fixtures in the same place, new paint, and aesthetic upgrades. So that means you're changing the colors of stuff. Maybe you're putting in some new cabinet handles, that type of stuff. Definitely no major changes. In a remodel, well, you're going to get new countertops, backsplashes, cabinets, sinks, even a new footprint or layout. You're going to look, in a remodel, you want to fix the things that are wrong, function issues with the space. So if a space doesn't function well, like a kitchen, it doesn't flow well, you don't have workstations set up, you can fix that during a remodel. If the kitchen's too small, you can make it bigger. Bathroom's the same thing. So let's get into it. So kitchen makeover. This here is an image of somebody basically painting the cabinets and maybe refacing the sides. It looks like they're priming some old oak cabinets here. And very minimal work in this scenario. This here, however, is what a major remodel looks like. This is kind of the tail end of this remodel when the painters are there. And we'll talk about how we gutted this kitchen and we put it back together. So this is the what it looked like before. This is a small 1970s, actually probably 1950s house. And as you can see, there's some little acoustic popcorn action up on the ceiling there. We ended up removing this wall and installing a large beam, what's called a flush mounted beam, up in the attic there. So we got rid of this wall and the wall at the perpendicular here. And it opened up the dining room with the living room and the kitchen and made it a really cool space. So this is what she looks like now. You can see it looks like a totally different space. And here, by the way, I don't know if you guys have seen this picture before, but I will give a free gift card. I think we still have some Starbucks gift cards. If you can tell me what that floor is it real wood? Is it engineered wood? Is it a laminate or is it tile? Whoever gets that right, I'll send you a Starbucks gift card. So these are custom cabinets here, built-in refrigerator, pretty awesome stove, and then obviously an island with a couple benches and a little overhang. Came out pretty cool. That's what it looked like before. That's where the sink was, where the stove is now. So let me go back. You can see the stove's over here. That's where the sink used to be. And then we moved the sink over to the window. Most people like to look out the window when they wash the dishes. They don't want to look into a wall. That's why we did that. So this is a better shot here. See? Pretty big difference, right? Difference between a remodel and a makeover. All right, so unforeseen costs. Everybody's always interested in learning more about this. Everybody wants to know, hey, how much should I keep as a contingency budget, those types of things. So for remodels, particularly bathroom remodels, you see this more often. You see that water under the shower pan and stuff gets under there, and you've got a little bit of mold, a little bit of dry rot, a little bit of fungus growing. All of that stuff is kind of bad news, and it's hidden behind the walls. If you're backing up to a balcony and you see bubbling and stuff like that, there's a lot of houses in PV that have this scenario where the kitchen is upstairs and or on the second floor. Sorry, in Hermosa Beach, the kitchen is on the second floor, and you've got decks and stuff out there. If you're remodeling the whole space, you got to keep in mind that there could be some unforeseen costs. A good way to deal with that is to do a limited demo and discovery agreement with your contractor, which means that you open up small sections of the area that is suspect, and you can assess how bad the damage is before you get into a full-blown remodel. So that's one of your tips and tricks. Now, this one here, this is very common. Well, not common, but it's when you do see this, it's typically behind the sink or the dishwasher. One of the hoses has a very minor leak, and it's been leaking for a while, and boom, you've got that hellaciously bad mold. That's the mold that smells kind of like bitter, and if you get too close to it, it'll actually make your eyes water. It's bad stuff. Bad stuff. Bad. The other thing that it could be an unknown is the transit pipe that has asbestos. So that many times is in the way. Like if you remove a wall, that could be in the wall, and then you have to have a specialty asbestos contractor haul that bad boy away. Look, it's not going to be like some horrific thing that everybody's going to die or whatever. You're going to have some crazy contamination. Once you run into those pipes, you basically call in a contractor. They seal off the room. They wet the area down a little bit. They remove it, and you're good to go. A lot of times you'll see that in the registers also of the HVAC registers, so the air conditioning registers. They'll have components of it that'll have asbestos. So you just got to get it tested. It's smart to get it tested before you demo it. Older houses typically will have to have their electrical upgraded, and whether it's a sub panel or the main line. If you're going to remodel your kitchen, you should definitely have the electrical panel inspected to make sure that you have enough capacity. If you don't have enough capacity in electrical panel, you may have to put a sub panel. And it's a relatively easy thing to do, but you should know about it before you go to construction so you can account for its cost. If you have these little screw-in fuses here, you're going to have to upgrade for sure. The other thing that very commonly is found during either a kitchen or a bathroom remodel is the sewer lines. Sewer lines, if your house you've never had a sewer system upgrade, chances are if you're going to remodel your bathroom and your kitchen, just go through the expense of replacing the sewer system within the footprint of the house, because you'll be able to open up a big hole in the bathroom so that the guys can get under there and replace those pipes. And it's the best time to do it when you can open up a big hole either in the kitchen or the bathroom to be able to access underneath the house. It's an awesome time to do that. Plus, everything will work good, and you're not going to have any significant plumbing problems for a long time. Setting the budget. Let's talk about money, but before we do that, we'll come back. We'll take a quick break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I love Los Angeles. Movie stars, surfing, one of the most diverse cities in America. Some days, it feels like paradise. But any second now, that could all change. Because the big one is coming.
We're better prepared for the big one than any big city in America, which is to say, we're woefully unprepared.
An earthquake so large that the Los Angeles you know will be gone.
It's going to be chaos.
Thousands of fires will break out all over the city. The power will go out. Clean water will be scarce.
They don't understand that it's not going to be just one big shake, but it's going to be thousands of shakes for months or years.
There's nothing we can do to stop it, but we can get ready.
what's up? We're back. We're talking about money, setting your budget for your project. So let's get into it. All right. Let me tell you a little secret. You are in control of your project's budget. See, most people think, hey, I'm going to call a contractor, I'm going to call another contractor, I'm going to call another contractor, until somebody gives me an estimated budget, an estimated price that is within my budget. The truth is, you are 100% in charge of your budget. You see, the more you do, the higher your budget goes. The less you do, the lower your budget goes. And whether you believe me or not, that's really the case. So if you want marble, the budget's gonna go up. If you want, let's say a $4 tile, that's obviously gonna be a lot cheaper than a Carrera marble or a Calcutta gold marble on the floors. So you control that. Your tastes, what you want the room to look like, all of those things go into the budget. Oh, cool. All right. So remember, it's totally prudent to save a little extra in case you want to add something to the project, and obviously if you have a little bit of a cost overrun because you open up the wall and you got termite damage or something like that. So you should have in your back pocket a little bit of alternate financing, and typically speaking, most of the contractors work with a finance company. We have a few customers of ours actually that are lenders. I got one customer that's a VP at Chase Manhattan, so I've been able to send them over some customers to get their place refied so they have money to do the project. Besides, you're never going to borrow money as cheap as it is now, so it's a good thing to take advantage of. We're living in good times as far as lending is concerned. So let's talk a little bit about how to set your budget and how to kind of get your head around how much to spend. I think that the wisest way to set a budget is to compartmentalize the spaces. So for your bathroom, X number of dollars. For the kitchen, X number of dollars. And then typically when we're doing kitchen remodels now, we're removing walls. So it's kind of like a first floor remodel. So we're getting flooring for everything. We're painting the first floor. We're dealing with the stairs going up to the second floor. So I would look at it. So if somebody was to do the kitchen remodel, the bathroom remodel, and then we're mowing the first floor, I would have a compartment, a little bucket, if you will, of money for each one of those spaces. And that's how I would make sense of it. Because some people, like one of the projects we're doing now, one of the bathroom models is a guest bathroom. It's small. So, obviously it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put a ton of money in there when they're going to kind of go all out on the kitchen. But it's important to be able to look at each one of those spaces individually so that you can adjust the money and move it around a little bit, right? You really want to spend your money where you're going to get the most bang, right? And if you're looking at all three spaces, and understanding that there's flexibility in how much you're going to spend, I think it'll help you make decisions too, because it'll affect maybe the grade of the finishes, right? So maybe if you saved $5,000 on tile work in the bathroom, you could maybe put that towards lighting in the kitchen, or vice versa, either way. So think about it like that. The other thing, the biggest mistake that I see people make when they're talking about a major remodel, particularly a kitchen remodel where they're going to add square footage, is that they don't have plans. If you do not have plans, you do not have a real price. I tell people this all the time. They're like, well, I talked to a contractor here, I talked to a designer over there, I talked to my real estate agent, and when I ask them, okay, great, do you have some plans done yet? And they're like, no. Then okay, you do not have a proper assessment of the construction cost. You may have what you feel your budget is, what you can make sense of spending in the house, but you don't really know what the construction costs are going to be until you have a set of drawings drawn up where somebody can figure out quantities and can have a really good grasp of what parts of the house are affected. So what do I mean by that? If you're doing a kitchen remodel, almost all houses are undersized in the electrical system. So you almost always have to either upgrade the electrical service panel or you have to put in a sub panel. One of those two things always has to happen. And very few people are thinking about that when they're considering the remodel. The other thing people don't consider is when they're doing an addition, they don't realize that a lot of the times they're going to have to re-roof the entire house. Even though they're only adding 200 square feet to the house, it's very difficult to match the roof shingles. A lot of times the roofs are already pretty old. They've been on there for 20 years. So it makes sense to re-roof the whole section. So these are things that many people don't think about that you should be considering when you're doing a major remodel. Hiring the right team. This is really, really important. You got to understand that right now the construction industry is at full employment. Okay, because the crash was so bad back in 2008 through 2012, a lot of people left the business completely, and very few people were going into it. We have a shortage of labor for sure, particularly younger people, millennials. Millennials, can you please pick up a hammer? Can you come and see me? We need some millennials here to go to work. A young generation is the lifeblood of any industry, and construction is no different. So you have to understand that you have to choose wisely, because some contractors take on more work than they can handle, and it ends up being a very not good experience for the property owner. So just consider that. Consider your contractor's availability. Consider the reputation, obviously, and more importantly, I think more importantly than those two things is please make sure that you're a good fit with them. Make sure that on a personal, on a human level, that they're a good fit for you. And not everybody is. I think people really underestimate that importance. Remember, they're going to be working on your project for 5, 6, 7 months, maybe a year, depending on the size of your project. So your ability to trust them and get along with them, it's going to be stressful. You know, construction is stressful. These are all factors that are important in determining who you pick, right? So keep that in mind. So hire the right team, get a design done, kind of in your head, have an idea of what your working budget's going to be, and then design it towards your budget. And I think that's the best way to go about the whole thing. So design can impact the price, and let's talk about how it does. If you move buildings, if you move a lot of infrastructure around, you're going to really affect the price. If you move in a bathroom remodel, for example, we have that up here on the screen. If you were to move that toilet, or do you move the shower, that can be a very costly endeavor. It's a bigger problem if the bathroom is on the second floor, because of running pipes through floor joist systems. It can be a little tricky. So understand the most expensive thing to move is for sure the toilet. The toilet vents that go to the roof and the toilet drains are the biggest diameter pipe, and it's a really expensive thing to move. So only move that toilet if you really, really have to. So here's a project that you can have the shower in a few different spots. And you notice in one scenario the shower's down here, the other scenario the shower's up here. This was a project that we did the floor plan for, and it was very painful, mostly because those issues with deciding where things would be. After much discussion, the toilet, I convinced them to keep the toilet there, and we were able to make a determination about the shower. So FYI, just so that you know, the shower in this scenario, sorry, the shower, yeah. Can you see the screen? Okay. The sink here, I think honestly, in some respects, this area may look a little nicer, but they had a lot of space. So this would allow for nicer custom cabinetry here, and they'd still have a nice size shower. And this is the walk-in closet. So it's we're really designing this to your taste. So you're the main driver of what it actually gets built. So by leaving stuff in place, I want to show you something here. There's vent pipes. All of your plumbing is connected to vent pipes, right? It allows the displacement of air when you have water being, draining down into the system. So those vent pipes, if they have to be replaced or moved, affect the walls that they're going up. So you may have to open up the walls. You also will have to deal with a roof patch, and these can be costly. So it's definitely something to consider. When you're dealing with the drains, you may have to reframe floor joists or cut concrete if you're sitting on a slab foundation. Again, these are all things that affect costs. So let's talk about some tips and tricks. Tip number 1, make sure you draw it out first. And then talk about what are going to be the cost drivers of the design. Draw it out first, and then talk with your contractor about what the cost drivers are of that design. It very well may be that you have to move the sink or you have to move the shower because that's what's going to help the space function better. So I'm not so scared about that. I think what is important is that when you do move things around, that you have cost as a consideration. And with that said, many times you have to undergo the expense of doing it because that's what makes the most sense. But in your head, you should not just be moving things around. I see designers do this all the time. They move things around for the sake of moving it around, and it becomes very problematic to make it happen in the field, and it becomes expensive. So know that if you're moving load-bearing walls, you have to get engineering for it. If you are in a condo down here in the South Bay, really, if you're in a condo anywhere LA County, and you move any wall, you have to have engineering for it, even if it's not a load-bearing wall. All of the HOA, the homeowners associations, have stipulations that you can't move walls around without having engineering done to verify that load-bearing walls are not being removed. So you would think that it's common sense, but people do this stuff all the time. So make sure you get some engineering plans done, and always save a little bit extra money in case you want to make some other changes or something else comes up. So avoid things that are too trendy, like black countertops. Black countertops look really cool when they're very, very clean, but they show water spots and they show just about everything on there. So they were kind of trendy for a while, and I think history has definitely shown that it was a bad idea. There's other stuff that's trendy. Maybe it's funny, like I never thought, I was talking to the designer over at Ferguson's where we get our plumbing fixtures, and I was telling her that I never thought that brass would come back. So brushed brass is back. I mean, it looks gold, it's the golden fixtures, right? So they're back in a big way. And I don't know if it's good or bad. I think some of that stuff looks cool, but you may not like it in 10 years, so I don't know. Just consider that. If it's too trendy, you may not like it so much, and it may cost you some money. All right. Concrete. Concrete was a big deal. It was a big deal, and it was a bad idea. It was a big trend for countertops, and this sink happens to be concrete, and it was a bad idea because concrete is freaking porous. So you have basically a germ factory on your countertops and your sink. So that's one of a perfect example of a trendy thing that came out that looked cool in the magazines, but it was hellaciously a bad idea. All right. The other thing, if you've talked to me about remodeling your kitchen, I am not a big fan of hardwood floors in kitchens. It's just too many things that can go bad. If you want us to put hardwood floors in your kitchen, I will put hardwood floors in your kitchen. You just have to sign a little thing that says that hardwood floors in your kitchen are a bad idea. Because if you have any major leak, the floors are going to look like this, and it's a big shit show to fix this, and it could happen relatively easily. So, just don't do it. There's really cool tile that looks like wood that you can install in there, and I think you would be totally stoked with. If you don't have money to put in tile that looks like wood, you can put in this really cool laminate that's waterproof, and you can totally put that in the kitchen, and it'll withstand high traffic, and it'll look really cool. So that's a little tip and trick. All right, small tiles. This sized tile doesn't belong in any flooring other than a shower floor, and we install that dimension tile on a shower floor so you have grip. That much that much grout on a regular floor is a bad idea, unless you're doing some kind of decorative section in a foyer or something like that. But don't install tile that size on a regular high traffic floor. It's bad. Subway tiles, probably one of the most popular type of tiles. They come in all sorts of colors, all sorts of materials. They look really cool, and it's kind of like a timeless look. They're very safe. If you sell your house later, you rent it out. Many people like this style, and I think it's probably one of the better selections for either a backsplash tile like what you have here, or even in the bathroom, in the shower. Glass tile seems to be winding down, although you do still see some glass tile work. I do not recommend installing glass tile inside of a shower. It is nothing short of a nightmare. Many times the moisture will get in behind the tile, and you can see it, and it's bad. Plus, the tile doesn't do well in drastic changes in temperature. So you could have, in the wintertime, obviously it's cooler in the bathroom, and then you turn the shower on, or you turn the steam room on, and it gets hot in there. You'll have tiles that crack, do all sorts of weird stuff. And I know there'll be some of you in there that say, okay, you can put in a little membrane, and you can do this. You can put in this special mortar. I get you. Don't do that. Just don't put glass tile in the shower. It's a bad idea. You'll regret it. All right, let's talk about our Redondo Beach bathroom. This is a really cool bathroom. We used a 1x2 tile, 1 foot by 2, and we installed it vertically. Nice custom shower. It has a little bench, a niche with a little deco. That's kind of our signature thing. Pretty common. It's a very commonly built bathroom that we do. There's certain characteristics that are really high functioning, and that's what's there. If you could see that the deco tile, we used it on the floor, and we brought it up in the little niche, the little basket weave thing. So it's cool. Totally frameless glass everywhere. It gives you nice light in there. And our showers tend to be nice and wide, so they're pretty spa-ish. You'll have to install this little motion sensor thing. It's for the lights. It's a Title 24 thing. Cool little toilet deal. Now, this is actually a very common situation that we install. We've moved towards installing the tile on the floor as the as the kickboard or the baseboard. And we do that because a lot of the MDF, the regular baseboard stuff, was getting moldy and funky after a few years. So we started doing this as a matter of, this is just how we do it. And people love it. It's really bomb-proof. It not only does it look nice, it'll look nice for a long period of time. It's another shot of the shower. This one's got double niche, and then you could take a look at that floor. It's awesome. It's pretty. Lighting's important. It's an important part of the discussion that we engage in when we're doing design, because for makeup, for guys, for shaving, stuff like that, the lights got to be right, and it's definitely worth having an extended conversation about it. Shower fixtures, you can spend $300. You can spend $3,000 on one faucet. So that's definitely one of the fun parts about shopping, is we go to Ferguson and we shop for plumbing fixtures. I actually enjoy that. It's really cool. Customers do too, because you're not by yourself. I don't just send you to the plumbing shop. We go together and I walk you through the things that make sense. All right, Torrance kitchen. So this is definitely an open floor plan. You see how it flows good? There's different workstations. You've got your workstation at the stove, your workstation here, and then you've got easily two workstations on the island, and then you've got seating. This kitchen can easily accommodate 6 people in it, working and getting stuff done. Before, you could barely fit 2 people in there. Maybe 3 would be crowded. So the function of the kitchen, it should be functional in addition to being beautiful. This is a nice little Kohler apron sink. It's a cast iron deal, custom cabinets. You can see the backsplash is just a nice subway tile with a little bevel on it. It gives it a nice little fancy touch. And you can see the guys installed a little bit of metal edging to deal with the joints. It's really cool. You have to have master masons do this stuff, otherwise it doesn't quite look right. Custom cabinets, you get really good functionality out of them. These are the Le Mans. I probably didn't pronounce that right. We've got a beverage cooler. She's got a nice little selection of beverages there. And then, man, this is like a beautiful piece. This Gen Air piece is really nice. Has 2 ovens, griddle. I think it's got 6 burners. It's a nice piece. It ain't cheap. It's not cheap, but it sure is beautiful. All right, one more tip. Protect your house with a seismic retrofit. Guys, it does you no good to spend all of this money on a kitchen and bathroom and your house is on a raised foundation and then you have a ton of damage. We're trying to bring awareness to this. We're members of the Brace and Bolt deal here in California. We live in earthquake country. Please watch some of our other videos on earthquake and seismic retrofitting. It doesn't cost a lot of money for a house to be retrofitted, so you should definitely consider it as part of your remodel, especially if you're doing a major remodel. So it's relatively easy. It takes less than a week to do it, and the average cost is about $7,500. If you add more wood or whatever, it could be $10K, but you know the average cost is it's very affordable. This is this is what's typically installed. These brackets that tie the mud sill to the concrete, and then blocking on your floor, and then you tie that blocking to the mud sill, and between those two things, bingo. So if you want to talk about that, a house bolting job, please contact our office if you have any questions about it. By the way, if you're watching this video live or if you're watching it after the fact later, you can post questions below and we answer them. So we're constantly going through these videos and answering people's questions because they watch it after the fact. So are there any questions? We got any questions out here?
Number one, we want to thank the viewers who tuned in live. We had a couple of viewers. Somebody asked, how long does a small kitchen remodel usually take?
A small kitchen remodel is probably about 8 weeks. That would be considered small. Major remodel where you're changing walls and stuff, it could be 4 or 5 months. It depends. Depends on how big the job is. If we're moving major load-bearing walls, stuff like that.
Oh, so that's interesting. Somebody else asked just about that. They said if they want to create an open kitchen, how much should they expect to spend on engineering?
On engineering? Oh, I think you could probably get art. You have to do architecture for the whole house. So between $6,500 and $8,500, depending on what has to be moved. And you're probably going to spend about $100,000 on a job like that for construction costs, just in case you're wondering. What else we got?
And somebody else asked, why is it expensive to move things around in a bathroom?
Because of all of the labor associated with moving the infrastructure, moving the plumbing, the electrical. You've got to bore. Many times you have to reframe things to accommodate the change. It's the infrastructure that's got the labor associated with the infrastructure, and then you got to repair walls. So you have to many times remove a lot of drywall or plaster to get pipes moved or electrical moved, and then you got to fix that. So it's a pricey endeavor. But sometimes it's absolutely needed. So the only reason I'm talking about it is just to bring it to your attention. That's all. So you don't move things around. You want to move things around with a purpose.
Somebody else asked, I think they're in Hermosa, they're asking, is construction on a quote unquote tall and skinny a little bit more expensive because of the constraints?
No. The only thing with the tall and skinny is that if you're removing a wall, particularly the tall and skinny, there's two walls that are very critical. There's an interior wall that runs parallel the length of the building. If you remove that to make the kitchen bigger, there's definitely a ton of infrastructure in there. You're going to have the vent pipe for the heater that's in the garage. You're going to have, that wall will typically have all of the electrical running up it, so you got to redistribute 15 or 20 circuits. And then you have to deal with the wall that runs perpendicular. That is a seismic wall, so you have to deal with the seismic force. And then you have to transfer all the weight to the exterior walls, which means you have to open up big pads on the first floor. So I don't know, expect to pay another $15K in seismic and kind of getting the building ready for removing those walls. I think that's maybe even 20,000. It could be as much as that between the framing and moving all of the infrastructure to get rid of those walls. But by the way, it's one of the best things you can do to a skinny, because it fixes all of the things that you hate about it. You're going to make the kitchen bigger. You're going to make it easier to function, and you're probably going to get a new heating system that's a lot more efficient, and you're probably going to get air conditioning at the same time. So it isn't, other than the expense, if you can make sense of the money, the function that you'll get out of this space is way better. So those are some things to consider.
Somebody asked about the seismic retrofits for homes.
Mm-hmm.
They're asking, do you need a permit for that?
It's all voluntary, and you should get a permit. Most cities issue a permit, but they make it really easy to issue a permit because they want you to do it. So that's it. We don't have any more questions. Hey guys, thanks for watching another episode of The Construction Show. My name's Alex with Bay Cities Construction, and I want to remind you to visit our website. We've got a ton of information there for you. If you're considering doing a kitchen or bathroom model, please go to our website. It isn't salesy. We built it so that you can get educated and have an understanding of what it's going to take to get your project built out. So it's like 3,000 pages, and we've got over 400 blog articles. So please check it out. If you're following us on social media, please do so. We're on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all that good stuff. We want to be where you are, so please follow us if you're on those social media channels. We're always trying to post some informative, cool stuff. And construction is, every day is a new day. Every day we learn something new, and it's really fun to experience that together, and we try and share that with you on an ongoing basis. So don't miss an episode. We post our episodes live on Tuesdays, but you can always watch us after the fact on YouTube. And if you want to contact our office, this is our contact info. That's our office phone number and our address. We've been around for 15 years, so I think we know a little bit about what we're doing. And my name is Alex, reminding you, you don't need a contractor, but you do need a team of pros. Hey, don't forget to go to baycitiesconstruction.com. baycitiesconstruction.com. Everything you need to know about your next remodeling project. See ya.
My name's Alex Rodriguez, reminding you, you don't need a contractor. You need a team of pros.